Natter, I'm Mark Steele, and across the table from me should be Jenny Steele, but unfortunately she's busy being trained by some little green dude that lives in a swamp to kung fu spiders. Because the bungalow where this fine radio show comes from, dear listener, it is a hive of spiders at the moment. In fact, they've been forcing me to bribe my way into the building. I was like, I'm here to do a radio show for Bo Radio, and there's this spider, not kidding, 7-8 feet tall, with all the legs all spread out, standing in front of the doorway, basically telling me you're not getting in until I give it a few quid. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Though on a more positive note, you can tell the kids are back to school because the roads are so busy. It's ridiculous, isn't it? When did they just start learning so early to drive? I never got that. Why are they all driving to school? It's ridiculous. In my day, we had to walk to school. I was about to say uphill both ways, but that was genuinely true in my case, because you went downhill to then come back uphill. But, it blows my mind that so many kids are driving to school nowadays. But on a more positive note, find out what you gave a shot at and went, nope, not for me, not going to do it again after one shot. After this one, I'm putting on because of the green dude teaching Jenny to kung fu spiders. It is, of course, Carl Douglas and Kung Fu Fighting. It's A Wee Natter on Bo Radio and Fatcham Town Radio 2. Thanks for joining us. Be honest, when was the last time you heard this one? It wasn't yesterday, was it? Carl Douglas and Kung Fu Fighting. It's A Wee Natter on a Sunday evening. I'm Marc, by the way. Thanks for joining me. And last week I was asking about those things that you took one shot at. You gave it a go. You thought it'd be really cool when you did it, and well, you decided it's never for you. It's not going to ever do it again. A couple of you been in touch, including Sandra Owens, saying archery. Oh, and funny enough, you should mention archery because we were down in Woollerton Park earlier today, and there, wasn't expecting it, didn't know it was on. They were having the Archery GB National Tour. I assume that's where they're doing an archery event or things like that. I did consider winding them up and waiting for one of the archers to pull their bow and release it, and at that point fall down going, "Ah!" like I'd been shot or something like that. But I thought that is a wee bit cruel if they're doing a competition. It's like going up to a golf course and yelling 5 because they're expecting 4, but if you yell 5, it puts them right off. I didn't tell you how to do that, by the way. I didn't tell you about that. Angela Campbell also saying caviar is overrated. It was great. It was a great make and in perfect condition, and we hated it. I tried in vain to tempt the cat with the remainder of the tin, and she refused to even try it. Cats, no. You know what? I've never even seen caviar, never mind trying it. You're running around in posher circles than I do. Kathy McGreevy saying, I did silent disco on a cruise recently. Not my thing. And the really funny thing about silent discos is they kind of make sense if you've got your headphones on and you're dancing away with each other. But if you're one of the observers, because you're helping set it up and you're organising or something like that, you just see all these people jigging around going thump, 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 and no music. It looks utterly weird, properly bonkers stuff. It's like something out of a scary sci-fi movie or something. Janet Roberts saying, I have just arrived in the Isle of Man for a week's holiday. Ooh, enjoy it. Not for me, it's hummus, or hummus, however you pronounce it. What even is it? It just looks like concrete when I see it in the supermarket. It's never appealed to me. I'm sure it tastes fine. Sally Ann Markham Johnson saying skateboarding and twisted my ankle badly. Oh, twisting your ankle. Even when you don't do any real damage to it, it feels really painful. I'm talking as somebody that manages to do it on flat and level ground. I don't even need skateboarding to do it. Elizabeth Lofton saying bull riding when I was in the Navy. Well, I was doing it once just to see what it's like, not for me. Bull riding, is that the thing that you see in movies and TV shows in the US when they go into like a cowboy saloon and there's the bull that's juddering around and you've got to try and hold on for dear life? I would actually genuinely give that a shot. I probably ought to do it while I'm still younger so I don't get ripped to shreds by it. But yeah, it does look fun. If we turned up at a bar that was doing that, I'd give it a go. I'd give it a try. Sam Kellip saying, I would say lawn bowls is the answer to this question. Wow. For half an hour, it's absolutely fine. It's more of an ending to a social event in the summer or the start of it. But I signed up to my local club this year and 2 hours of it is just too much and it's not stimulating enough for me. Oh, that reminds me. I've tried to pick up and run with a couple of very geeky hobbies. I'm kind of geeky kind of person. And I thought, I'm interested in what this is about. So I turned up at the local amateur radio club, and I try to remember what the other one I did this with. But the amateur radio club really sticks out, because I turned up expecting a level of geekiness. I was expecting a certain amount of it. Oh yeah, it was a Linux users group or something. But I turned up expecting levels. It was a whole other eon above it. It was just another planet of geekiness. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, no, this is way too much for me. So I know what you're on about there, Sam. And Vicky Fairweather was saying, I can think of free things. That's showing off. Free things, and decided that's enough. Alcohol is number one because it tastes horrible. I guess if you try it as a kid, I can see where you're coming from, but it's sort of an acquired taste. It happens over time, when you're 12 years old, bucky down the park, all that kind of stuff. Number two was country walking in the Lake District because the paths get going through farms. I was scared of cows, dogs, and getting done for trespassing. Well, if you know you're right away, you can have an argument with the farmer, and that's a good bit of fun. That adds to the entertainment of it, It's part of the experience. And number three is go-karting because it's filthy, stinky and noisy. I'm with you on go-karting, but not because it's filthy, stinky and noisy, but because I was completely and utterly rubbish at it and was getting beaten by the 4-year-old kids. And just a second, we'll talk about get to remember something after this. Sweet dreams on the a very positive sounding Annie Lennox, and well, the entirety of the mix, which was other chappy as well, wasn't it? Sweet dreams are made of these. It's A Wee Natter from Bow Radio, Thatcher Town Radio 2. And Marc, by the way, thank you for joining me this fine Sunday evening. And I was perusing the internet. I think that's the way you word it. I was perusing the internet, and I came across this news article. And unfortunately, I'm going to go on a little bit of a sad topic here, but I have to touch on it to get to the core of this. But reading this news article about somebody that's unfortunately passed away, and it's about celebrities. And one of the things they do when a celebrity's getting on a bit and they're getting a bit older, is they know they're going to pass away at some point, so they start preparing the news articles. They start getting the clips together and whatnot, so that when something does unfortunately happen, they're all ready to go and they can fill the news agenda with it. Well, I saw this news article. It's about some music artist from the 1950s, 1960s. Not a name that you probably know, but it was one of the ones that was famous over in the US, never really came across the Atlantic. And the depressing bit about this article is right at the very end of it, there was a little tagline that says, the writer of this article, and it's got the name here, a long-time journalist with this outlet, who died in 2014, was a principal writer of this obituary. So the person who wrote the article about the person that died today, or this week, died 10 years ago. It's utterly bonkers. And you start looking at it going, this is the thing, this person, Bob Thomas, that wrote the article, that's what he's going to be remembered for now, is writing an article, before his death, 10 years before the death of the person that he was writing the article about. Completely and utterly bonkers. So it got me wondering about, what do you want to be remembered for? The thing I'd love to be remembered for, dear listener, and it involves you, is to be one of these, what do they call, cult classics, or, something like that, where, it's have you not heard of A Wee Natter before? Yeah, it's got Marc and Jenny on it. You want to seriously get listening to it, Bow Radio, get onto it. I want to be that sort of secret underground thing. That's what I want to be remembered for. Sort of known, but not everywhere. Not hugely mainstream. And that's very different from when I was a kid, where it's like, I want to be a pilot. Or they made us do, I hate to come back onto death, but they made us do this thing where in school, I think it was for religious education or whatever they call it, right? And we had to get these tombstones and draw on them and put our name on them, and then put our quote of, what we thought our last words would be. And it was supposed to be a sort of spiritual thing, or, looking at, I've achieved X over my lifetime. The words I went with, when given this opportunity, were, oops, wrong button. I'm surprised that I didn't end up in some sort of psychological counselling testing thing off the back of that one. So I'm going to open this up to you, dear listener. What do you, for all the things that have happened in your life, all the things you want to go and achieve, what do you want to be remembered for? What are you going to go, right, we're talking about a dear listener here, and they are fantastic for X. That's what we know them for. That's what we love them for. And what do you want that thing to be? Well, give me a call. Mansfield 01623 888 730. You can text 073 79 78 49 00, or you can email requests at bowradio.co.uk. And while you're on to think about it, here's a song about coffee, of all things. I hate to go on a downer. It's just after the bars driven with the night, because it's such an upbeat wee song, but I am going to have to hand out P45s to technical gremlins here, because unfortunately you, dear listener, have been in touch throughout the show so far, but it's not been appearing on my fine computer screen here. I hit the refresh button, your message appeared, so apologise. I've got to catch up. I've got to give shout outs to the likes of Dandelion, Vicky, Cheryl and Monica, who've all said hello from various locations, including around Norfolk. Radio show surprisingly popular around Norfolk. I'm not turning into Alan Partridge, am I? I need to get on top of that. But glad to have you on board. Also had Sandra Owens asking, are you in your new studio? I missed the start of the show. Now there's a dirty little secret. So I'm currently sitting in the bungalow right now at Bow Radio, and I am organising a wee studio in my bedroom. You know, a little bit geeky, but we're putting one together, and it's mostly there. I can play music on it, can chat, and we just need to sort a few technical gremlins out. But once we got that sorted, Jenny will be able to join me again, because the bedroom is guaranteed, and it comes with my cup and, slip of paper guarantee that there are no spiders in that room. Whereas the bungalow has been taken over by spiders. I'm literally looking at about 3 of them now. I'm not joking. I can see about 3 of them in my eye line. So unfortunately, no, we have not moved yet. But it will happen, and you might not even be able to tell the difference unless you're on Mixcloud or Twitch TV, where you can watch the radio. Yeah, it's a bit bonkers like that. And on a slightly different note, I was asking you about what you want to be remembered for, and Hank's be in touch saying I will be remembered for being willing to help other people as he's working, volunteering for animals in the local animal organisation, social guy with a positive character as well. That sounds almost like you're giving us a CV there, Hank. Yeah, after a wee gig, looking after animals here as well. I know, admittedly, you're in Norway, so it'd be a bit of a stretch, but I bet you're doing some fantastic work with animal charities, because, I imagine it can't always be brilliant when you're brought in to help with situations there, can it?
Covers versus originals.
This is the bit where I put you, yes, you, in charge of the music. Yes, we take 2 songs, one's a cover version, one's the original version, and you decide what plays on this fine radio show in a couple of songs' time. It's as simple as that. So, our cover this week is Cher, I Found Someone. The original is Laura Branigan, I Found Someone. So, it's your choice. Would you prefer Cher or Laura Branigan? Get your votes in. It's you that is deciding. I don't pick. Give me a call. 01623 888 730. You can text me 073 78 79 49 00, or you can email requests at bowradio.co.uk with your choice between Laura Branigan or Cher for I Found Someone. You're not going to believe it when I say it, but this is apparently influenced, I think is the term to use for it, by Frank Sinatra's My Way. Still a great wee song. I'm not going to tell you how old it is because it'll just make you feel older. My Chemical Romance, welcome to the Black Parade.
Covers versus originals.
I know it's a lot of pressure. I know it's too much for you potentially, but I've been putting you in charge, choosing between the cover version of our song I Found Someone by Cher or the original by Laura Branigan. The decision is entirely yours. There's still a chance for you to choose which one's going to be playing in just a moment, but I do love some of the reasoning that comes in sometimes behind your choices, like this one from Cheryl saying, I like Laura Branigan, but I don't know her version, so I will go with Cher. That's I can see the logic there. I know where you're coming from, but the decision is yours, and which one is going to play? Well, you'll find out after it bites, and we call all the heroes. When's the last time time you heard that one? It wasn't yesterday, was it? It Bites calling all the heroes. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. Thanks for stopping by for a wee natter. I'm Marc, by the way, in case you ever need to give evidence in a court case about what happened this evening.
Bow Radio would like to thank all our sponsors. We couldn't be here without you.
Indeed, this is Bow Radio with special thanks to our supporters, including Allerton and Booton Town Council, Notts County Council, One Intent, Abib Motors, Row Creative, the Workshop Freemasons, Freemasons of Bassetlaw, Solar Frame of Goldthorpe for our windows and door, and Sherwood Grange Care Centre as well.
Covers versus originals.
It's been a lot of pressure for you. It's been a ridiculous amount of stress, but you've been choosing between a couple of different versions if I found someone. Did you go for the cover by Cher, or did you go for the original by Laura Branigan? Well, I've got to give shout-outs to the likes of Sandra, Hank, Cheryl, Vicky and Monica, because between you have decided by, well, I think it's only a single solitary vote by the way I count it. Laura Branigan's version. Hope you enjoy it. And in just a second, we'll do something much bigger than it probably should be. Only really a hit in the US, this version. Laura Branigan, I found someone, but Michael Bolton's work did go a bit bigger with Cher, and which is probably the version you know instead, but still cracking wee song. Thanks for choosing it in covers versus originals, and I did promise something big would be coming along, and I suppose if we're talking about something big, you've got to talk about me, and I better play my intro music.
Hey, fatty boom boom.
That wasn't the music I meant to play. That was an accident. I genuinely didn't mean to play it. What I meant to play was this. It is because, of course, I am a big lumbering beast, as you can enjoy filling your vision on Mixcloud or Twitch TV. But if you're listening to radio, I am the sort of person where to play this music as I clamber onto the stage. To cover over all the creaking noises and things that might be upsetting people. But we did promise we'd do something together, me and you, dear listener, called Slimtember. It's a journey I'd like you to join me on, and it's a little bit of a challenge I'm doing for myself. You might be joining on with your own little challenge. But in the build-up to the mince pies and Christmas cake and turkeys and all the other things that come in the Christmas cupboard, although I don't know why you put the turkey in the cupboard, but you know what I'm on about, that cupboard that gets filled with Christmas treats, including all the wee chocolates that you don't touch until December. I suppose I better stop being quite so fat. So my challenge I set myself was to lose a stone by the end of September, and progress so far is better than I expected. Down 4 pounds in 1 week, which is probably not a good thing. I should probably go see a doctor about that. But if you're taking part in Slimtember as well, it's got to have a Marc's full name, doesn't it? And I'd love to hear from you about that one. But in the meantime, there was something that went past here in previous years, but didn't come past this year. We'll have a chat about it after this one from Sister Sledge. A bit of garbage, not literally like a piece of garbage, but the band Garbage. And Stupid Girl before that, Sister Sledge saying we are family. And Dandelion was in touch about Sister Sledge saying, love this tune, absolutely love it. I'm glad to hear we're playing the songs you do like. And I do like to hear about your achievements as well, including Hank saying, I've been walking every day in September, 6 kilometres. I try to keep on with it. Say 6 kilometres, that's what, like 3 miles, something like that? That's a mad old distance to be doing every day. Well done, Hank, for keeping that up. And also in touch is Monica saying, we're going to have a step contest at work tomorrow until the 1st of October in the name of health, competing in teams. hang on a minute, you don't work for the same people I work for, do you? Because we were doing one of these challenges as well. But anyway, Monica's always saying, I actually think the goal of 8,000 steps each day is slightly too low, but will be fun anyway. Yeah, good luck to you. Hopefully you're in the winning team, Monica. That's the trick, is to be in the winning team. And, find a friendly pet, like a cat having a mad half hour, or a dog that you need to, let run around the garden or something. Attach your watch to that, or your smart device, or whatever it is that you're measuring the steps with. Absolutely genius. You'll be well ahead. But I did not condone cheating, but you'll be well ahead. And also in touch, Sandro is saying, did you manage to finish the DIY, Mark? Good point. That's something my missus has been pestering about all week, and I did finally get the curtain rail up, and it's still up there as we speak. I'm sure I'll get a phone call at some point later in the show to say that it's come down and taken half the wall with it. I'm not the greatest at DIY, but just about do it. And I mentioned there's something that happened that passed through this area this week. That, in previous times, it would have actually passed right through this village, right through Edwinstowe, where I'm sitting right now. But this year, it did not happen. I'm, of course, talking about the Tour de Yorkshire. Well, it's now the Tour of Britain. And in previous years, it's come through Sherwood and actually passed through our fine area. This year, they decided, you know what? I'm not going to do that. We're not going to come down that way. And I've got a slight problem with the Tour of Britain. Not that it didn't come through our fine villages and things, and we didn't get to paint bicycles yellow or anything like that. My problem is, Tour of Britain only ever goes through the nice green leafy parts of Britain, right? You never take it into, a rough part of London or something like that, where they're cycling along and then the camera gets next and the bikes, well, they're left up on bricks. I'd love to see that. That would make it slightly more entertaining, wouldn't it? It's amazing how a song can take you back in time to a moment in your life. You just hear it and go, oh, wow. And it's like you're back in that moment itself. Dandelion being taken back by Michael Jackson, Don't Stop Being Get Enough, saying it takes me back to when I was younger and I won my first dancing trophy to this. And the way you've worded it, I'm guessing this dancing trophy wasn't exactly won yesterday. But, when I hear it, it takes me back to school discos. That's what it takes me back to. And a little moment ago, we were talking about, Monica might end up winning a little competition if she can do enough walking. And it turns out, apparently, they can win an international trip. Going to another nation. Although you've got to read the terms and conditions, because, it might turn out, if you're anything like some bosses I've had in the past, not my current bosses, but some I've had in the past, where you get a nice little letter going, congratulations, you won the prize, but we've allocated your desk as a micronation and we're sending you there during your normal working week. That'd be a bit depressing if you got something like that, wouldn't it? And on a slightly more upbeat note, we are going to go on Mission Musical Freedom after Steve Winwood finds his drum kit. He's reaching around. Can he find it? It's around here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, he's found it. It's a song where they lose the drum kit and then find it again and keep losing it, keep finding it again. Steve Winwood, Higher Love. It's A Wee Natter from Bow Radio and Fatchumtown Radio 2. I'm Mark, by the way. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. I do know Antiques Roadshow is on instead. I know other things you could be doing. So I do thank you for joining me this fine Sunday evening.
Mission Musical Freedom.
Yes, this is a bit of the show where we're like naughty little school children. We do things that we're told, you're not allowed to do this. But actually, we sneak it through anyway, and the bosses don't even notice, so we get away with it. So what it is radio stations, when you tune into them, they want to be playing music that you go, oh, I love that. I really like that song. And you stick it out, and you just keep putting song after song that you really, really love. And the problem with that is to achieve that, they've only got a handful of songs. They only have one Now CD that they keep on rotation. Now that's what I call music. They've got one of those CDs and they just stick to one of those. That's how they do it. So we've got a big library of music here at Bow Radio. A huge, vast archives. It's like at the end of the Indiana Jones film when they're going into the big, they're moving Pandora's box into the big rooms of containers and things like that. That's what it's like. There's huge amounts of music. A lot of them never see the light of day because the bosses, if they ever caught us sneaking them in, we'd be for the high jump. But I have snuck a song in this time that actually is fairly mainstream. It's a bit of country crossover, I think would be the way to put it, although it's very firmly grounded in country. But it's a song that I pretty much guarantee that you know and might even love. It is, of course, Kenny Rogers and the Gambler. Enjoy it on A Wee Natter.
On a warm summer's eve.
Jocelyn Brown as Somebody Else's Guy playing for you on A Wee Natter this fine Sunday evening as chosen by Monica. Apparently a splendid tune, both elegant and forceful. I can't argue with you on that one. Before that, Kenny Rogers and the Gambler, which is Cheryl's favourite song by Kenny Rogers.
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bow Radio.
I guess it's time to give your brain a little bit of a workout, because that's the sort of thing you do when you're winding down on a Sunday evening, isn't it? Yeah, it's the sort of thing I do. Don't know about you, I do it. But yes, it is the quiz. So cerebral, we have one question, just one question, and our prize as well. We don't have any to give away, but you could win if you give me the correct answer, or if you do the sort of thing I do and you give the wrong answer. Because people like to think, oh, Mark, he's a smart guy. He's got all these degrees and things like that. No, that does not make you smart. I'll tell you that from experience. But anyway, I say as though we're on a bit of an 80s bent. I thought I'd go for an 80s pop question. Yeah, no, if you know a bit about your 80s music, you've got a good chance at this one. So which Phil Collins song had the subtitle, Take a Look at Me Now? You think you know? Which Phil Collins song had the subtitle, Take a Look at Me Now? If you think you know, give me a call, 01623 888 730. You can text 073 79 78 49 00, or you can email requests@bowradio.co.uk with your immense Phil Collins 80s musical knowledge. And in the meantime, I'm going to chill out to a bit of Richard Marx. I'm right here waiting. I know we're not officially a request show, but I don't mind playing the odd wee song for you, including this one for Sandra. Richard Marx, Right Here Waiting, which I know more of the lyrics of than I was expecting, if I'm completely honest with you.
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bow Radio.
How are you doing with our little test of your 80s pop knowledge, where we're asking about the Phil Collins song that had the subtitle, Take a Look at Me Now? Well, a few of you have been in touch, taking up on, and Hank has been in with the correct answer. Vicky, you got the correct answer as well. Pon Life 21 and Cheryl, yeah, you've all got the correct answer so far. But do you know what the answer is, dear listener? Well, you've got one more song to get in touch, as chosen by Hank. We didn't mean to keep all the slow songs here, but when it's a request show, these things happen. And we're going for a bit of a classic.
Gotta write a classic.
There's a song you don't hear every year, never mind every day. Adrian Gurvitz and Classic. So we Natter on Bow Radio. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening, and it prompted a question where you can watch the radio on Mixcloud or Twitch TV, asking if I was the drummer on the song, because I have a habit of when we're playing catchy wee songs like that, I'll be clicking my fingers along to the song, or I'll be drumming along or something like that as well. And I actually used to get in trouble in the school orchestra for tapping my feet along with the music, because it was putting everyone else off. Although one bit I didn't get in trouble for is playing the trombone. My eyebrows used to change how high they were depending on what pitch I was playing at that moment. I bet it looked wild if you're watching it from the audience, but thankfully it's not something I do anymore.
Bow Radio would like to thank all our sponsors. We couldn't be here without you.
Indeed, this is Bow Radio with special thanks to our supporters, including Ullerton and Booton Town Council, Notts County Council, One Intent, Abib Motors, Row Creative, the Workshop Freemasons, Freemasons of Bassetlaw, Solar Frame of Goldthorpe for our window and door, and Sherwood Grange Care Centre as well.
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bow Radio.
So did your knowledge of 80s pop music manage to get you or Well, this is a time when we found out, because I was asking about Phil Collins and a song that had the subtitle Take a Look at Me Now, which is probably, let's be honest, what the song is better known as. It's probably better known as Take a Look at Me Now than its actual name. So to get that, along with all the fine people that have had it so far, you had to tell me that it was Against All Odds, and we can't talk about it without hearing it. So enjoy the song, and afterwards I'll tell you about something that's just properly winding me up.
How can I just let you?
Despite the fact Mariah Carey did a version, I don't think it's a song we'll put in covers versus originals. Phil Collins, Against All Odds. A Wee Natter, thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. And I read something, I'm genuinely telling you this, I got properly angry when I read it. And then I calmed down a bit. And then I got even more angry about a little fact that came along with it as well. So I'm angry at two different people from one single news story. You come on the journey with me, dear listeners. So the headline says, family has to sleep in car after caravan holiday turned out to be £1,000 scam. Wow. So there's a single mum who took her kids on a holiday in Wales for the first time in 2 years, and it turned out to be a scam. So they'd sent the money online and they'd done all sorts of back and forth. All the things that when you're in the moment, you don't think about it. But, you know, when it's like, oh, well, hey, we sent the money and it said it was to somebody's personal account and it was telling me I shouldn't do it, but I did it anyway because I wanted to take the kids on a nice holiday. She's gone through all those sort of things. And when people do that, I feel sorry for them. You know, because you've been scammed. You've been done out of some money. I'm not the kind of person that is cruel and stone-hearted and goes, no, you should have known better. You should have known not to click on that email. You should have known not to give that scammer your money. And it turns out part of the story was, so he turned up to this planned holiday, the caravan park, it was booked and occupied by other guests. And, they should give him a code on the key lock. It didn't work and things like that. And it turns out she'd been dragged along. She'd been told a yarn. She'd been sold this holiday and it turned out to be a scam. And then she's got the kids in tow. They're all in the car. So what do you do at that point? Well, she ended up sleeping overnight in the car. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a bit sad, but I get that these sort of things happen. The bit that I went away, came back to, is it turns out that to go on this holiday in Wales, she'd been travelling from already inside Wales. You're thinking, oh, well, Wales is a big place. She travelled a grand total of 58 miles to get to this caravan. It turned out that she'd paid someone to go to, and it was a scam. It was made up. So she couldn't stay in it. She had to go home. Travelled 58 miles. So stayed overnight in the car not to drive 58 miles. So then I catch myself getting angry at her going, why did you stay overnight in your car when it's like 2 hours of driving tops at that sort of distance? Why didn't you just go home? But then I've calmed down again. And I've come to the conclusion that when you're a bit stressed, you got the kids in tow. You were supposed to be taking them on holiday, and it turned out to be, well, a bit of a fake, a bit of a scam holiday. It didn't turn out to be real. It's starting to get dark. Things are starting to go a bit wrong. You can't really go home at that point because it's all a bit too stressful, all a bit too chaotic. You're feeling trapped. You can't get out. I can see where she's coming from then. I'm a bit old-fashioned with this view, but I am a bit of a sucker for a key change. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me, and before that, Eagles, Hotel California, which is not a description of this fine radio show, because you can leave it anytime you like, dear listener, but well, you'll find out when you check out you can't actually do that. So maybe it is a good description of this fine radio show. And talking about going back in time, there is a video game that was released just about 30 years ago. It was quite controversial at the time, but nowadays it's quite tame in comparison to what you can see elsewhere in the video game empire. But there's a bit of controversy surrounding a mod or a change that's been made for it, a add-on that you can download involving a rather controversial real-life character around these parts. I genuinely understand that this is coal mining territory, and this character was not exactly, top billing, number one, everyone will be celebrating them. But we're going to stray into that territory after a bit of Tom Robinson Band and 2468 Motorway. Who thought you'd write a song that would be celebrating things like service stations? Yeah, you got to give them points for that one.
Hey!
Even if you hate the song, you'll find yourself chatting along, won't you? Tom Robinson Man, 2468 Motorway. And going back in time, because that song wasn't made yesterday, but going back in time, do you remember the video game Doom? If you don't, it's from about 30 years ago now, but it's been quite popular ever since, and the whole thing is that you run around killing beasties from hell. So there's all sorts of spawn demon, and you run around with, weapons, shooting them, and everything's good in the world. That's the idea behind the video game. But there's this whole thing in video gaming called modding. And the idea is it's a bit like your 17-year-old kid with their first car. They don't like how it looks normally. They look at it and go, that's boring, that's rubbish. Need to make it more interesting. And they add a couple of baked beans on the exhaust, they put some lights underneath it, and they put a K&N filter on it, even though it's a 1 litre special and it ain't going anywhere fast. But you do that sort of thing as a kid. But there's a whole bunch of people that do these sort of things for video games, and a mod has been made for this game of Doom, where rather than killing the beasties from hell, you can descend into hell and go and defeat Margaret Thatcher. Genuinely, that's what the mod allows you to do. Unfortunately, one of the publishers has pulled it down now, saying, well, we can't make this available for the console anymore, but it's still available on PC. And I love the article I've been reading about this. Whatever you think about Thatcher, the line at the end of the article is rather cheeky and says, don't worry, Thatcher is still dead in real life, though. That's going out there a bit. That's pretty, pinning your colours to the mast, that one, isn't it? Definitely saying which way you lean on your opinion of the dearly deceased Margaret Thatcher. Although, talking about her, she's also appeared in the news again. I know, we're in the 2020s and we're still talking about her. It's crazy because, Keir Starmer, I think it took a picture of her that had been put on the wall in Downing Street or whatever it was and taken away and made it disappear. Do you know who actually put that picture up in the first place? Gordon Brown. Yeah, my head's broken as well at that fact. Very chilled out from Odyssey. If you're looking for a way out, the sort of song... You get your old lighter out and you start swaying from side to side. Now, I was doing exactly that until... Yeah, the downside of doing that is that you trigger the fire alarm. You have to go outside. You stand out there in the cold. Everyone looks at you like you're an idiot. And you get to go back in and apologise profusely to all the health and safety people for doing that sort of thing. Unfortunately, that's about it for A Wee Natter. I will be back, not with a vengeance, but next week on this fine radio show in this fine place. In the meantime, if you need a hit of music and chat, then join Marc and Paul tomorrow from 4 and 7 respectively, right here on Bo Radio. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with this cracking tune from the ELO. It's Living Thing. Have a good Sunday evening.